Hello, my name is Pearl and I am the beadinggem. Welcome to my latest addition to jewelry making techniques and projects for you. This is a demonstration which I hope will answer basic questions you might have on laser cutting wood jewelry and on this specific model of laser cutter. The xToolM1 laser cutter and blade cutter is a hybrid instrument which will allow you to cut and/or engrave many materials. The cutting can be done with a laser or blade cutter depending on the materials you choose. Space is always a consideration for home users. As you can see, it is a compact model, a bit larger and heavier than many home printers. I have placed my Cricut die cutter on top for comparison. As with anything, there are pros and cons. On the positive side, the xToolM1 is budget-friendly. It is much more affordable than some of the popular makes. It is well made and fully encased for safety. The laser only operates when the lid is down. You can still view the laser cutting process through the translucent safety lid. It is almost plug and play. That is easy to use, as I will demonstrate in a bit. It will laser cut many things cleanly like wood, fabric, cork, leather. While it cannot cut metal, it can engrave some metals. The versatility of this model means you get what is like a Cricut or Silhouette die cutter and a laser cutter all in one. The blade cutter can be used for materials like vinyl, which cannot be laser cut due to the harmful fumes being generated. The inbuilt camera to view the operating space from your computer is indispensable. All lasers must be focused to get the maximum operational capacity for whatever material is processed. So this model's autofocus saves you a step. Like all instruments, there are some cons. This is a 10-watt diode laser. The wattage as well as the type of laser dictates its speed and longevity. A diode laser is slower than a CO2 laser, which is the other most commonly available laser on the market. But a diode laser lasts a lot longer than a CO2, approximately 25,000 to 50,000 hours compared to just 5,000 to 8,000 for a CO2 laser before it has to be changed. Diode lasers cannot cut clear or translucent acrylics, but there are workarounds like using temporary paint or painter's tape on the material. It can engrave stainless steel coated or anodized metal, but not gold, silver, copper, brass. Consider other models from the xTool lineup if speed is of a concern or if you want to do precious metal engraving. I have linked their site below. The xTool F1 is worth a look. The next consideration is the venting of the laser cutter. The generated fumes can simply be vented out an open window. If you can only place the laser cutter in a room without a window, then consider the smoke purifier accessory from xTool, which will filter out the exhaust and either expel the clean air into the room or additionally be ducted out. The best way is to duct the exhaust outside. Please see my tutorial linked at the end where I show you how the exhaust tube can be attached to a clear polycarbonate sheet mounted inside a casement window. This means I don't let the warm air from my house to escape during cold months or the air conditioning to do so in the summer months. If you already have a die cutter like the Cricut, you will find mounting the blade is just as easy with the xToolM1. The blade housing is held magnetically, so it is easy to mount or dismount. However, be aware that the blade is very sharp, so it's best removed if you're cleaning the machine to avoid accidentally cutting yourself. The xToolM1 comes with triangular prism rods, which should be placed to lift the wood sheet above the base plate. This prevents the laser from damaging the base plate. There is also an optional honeycomb base, which I will demonstrate in a later video. Place the wood sheet on the rods and ensure that it is within the white markings on the base plate, because this would be the camera view you see when working in the creative space on your computer. The installation process is a breeze. To get started, connect the power cord, then the USB cable to your computer or laptop, then download the software. Once downloaded, connect to the machine. You can switch from USB to Wi-Fi so that you need not have your computer next to the machine. Get the camera working by clicking on refresh. You should then see the wood you place on the rods. Operating a laser cutter is easier than designing the element. Fortunately, you can obtain vector files from several places. I have linked the vector or SVG file I designed and used in the description box of the video below. I clicked on the image and selected the file. The design element appears in red on the creative space. You can click on it and drag it to where you want on the wood. There are two groups of settings to change, which can be seen in the right column. With the image selected, the object's settings appear. The software knows it's a vector. As I'm going to cut this, the output must be selected. In complex designs, there may be elements you don't want to cut, so in that case, ignore is chosen instead. Laser cutters can score, engrave, or cut, so we chose cut for this demo. I used the preset cutting parameters from xTool's reference list, as I will be cutting basswood, so I selected reference instead of manual. Clicking anywhere else on the creative space will deselect the image. This brings up the material settings on the right. I chose the 3mm basswood setting. xTool has already determined the best percentage laser power and the cutting speed for this material, so I didn't have to experiment to figure that out. Note that sometimes similar materials will work on the same setting. 3mm birchwood also works on the same basswood settings. Also important is to indicate that prisms are being used, i.e. the sheet is raised. The next step is to frame. This basically gets the laser to do a dummy run to make sure that it will cut in the right place, not off the board or in an area that might already be cut. Once framing is complete and all is well, remember to open the window for venting or turn on the smoke purifier. You can start by pressing the process button and then the front button on the actual machine. Never ever leave a laser cutter unattended when you are using it. When the cutting is complete, the device lets you know precisely how long the process took. Note that all laser cutters show signs of scorching when cutting wood. The burn marks occur when fumes and hot debris are dragged over the wood as the exhaust fan moves them to the vent. I was pleased to find the xToolM1's slower cutting speed and its exhaust fan did a good job in leaving very little scorching, as you can see from the cut wood on the right. The group on the left was cut on a 40-watt CO2 laser cutter, which cuts much faster, but the debris wasn't removed as efficiently. Any scorching can be removed with a little sandpaper. I will demonstrate the different ways to remove or avoid burn marks in another video. Maintenance is always a necessity with any machine. There is a tar-like substance which appears on the base plate and rods after cutting wood. This is the unburnt wood sap or even the glue used for such wood veneers. This should be removed after every use. Use some rubbing alcohol from the drugstore. I have found 50% white vinegar with water also works well. Always dampen a paper towel with the cleaning agent. Never ever spray 50% white vinegar inside the machine, as it could damage it. Other maintenance steps will depend on how long you use the laser cutter for. Little bits of dust and wood will need to be removed periodically, as does the greasing of the shafts on which the laser housing travels. The laser lens also must be cleaned with alcohol to keep them clear. The filters of the smoke purifier, if used, must also be replaced on occasion. One excellent advantage of the diode laser as it doesn't have to be replaced for a long time. Would I recommend the xToolM1 hybrid cutter? Absolutely. It is ideal for novices starting out on laser cutting. The machine's versatility is perfect for the home crafter who wants to cut and engrave a wide variety of materials for different kinds of projects. Not just jewelry, but signs, home decor items, vinyl craft projects, t-shirt transfers, custom engraving on tumblers, wood cutting boards, wood utensils, and so much more. The 10-watt diode laser cuts more slowly, so this machine is best for people who do not need high throughput production. It's also great for the professional looking for lower startup costs, which can be recouped quicker than a higher cost instrument. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tutorials on jewelry making and laser cutting. Also check out my blog for more tips, tutorials, and awesome inspirations. See you again soon.